do that. Wouldn't that be nice? Hi, guys. I'm Trish with Hip Homeschool Moms, and I am here with Rachel and Davis Carmen, the owners of Apologia, and Todd Wilson, Family Man Ministries. They just had a fantastic seminar. If y'all didn't have the luxury of watching that, is that going to be available to watch later, y'all, in some fashion?
Yes, there'll be an archive link on the homeschoolteacherappreciationday.com website.
Very good. Very good. It was wonderful. If y'all have not seen it, you need to go watch it. Y'all will be encouraged and you will be blessed. I can assure you. So, wow. Y'all had a lot of things going on over there. Todd is not paying one bit of attention to us. He is. I'm not sure he can even hear us at this point. He's giving sugar to his babies. Is that what you're doing?
Something like that. Something like that.
Oh, that's so sweet. Okay, we'll cut you some slack, Dad. So we're picking on you for having your back to us. So
there's a lot going on in this little room here.
Turn the camera around. We can see what's going on, right?
We should review Todd's schedule. He had to speak at 8, dash to a 9:30 workshop with us, and then immediately get set up for a blab. He's had technology overload here.
There you go. There you go. We're very blessed to have y'all here. So one of the things that I think that y'all can bring perspective to is having so many children and having the opportunity to have that age span and help some of our moms and dads. How do you work through homeschooling and encouraging and being there in the right place at the right time for all of these kids? So, Rachel, we'll let you start. I know what you're going to say.
What am I going to say? Yeah, go ahead, tell me what am I going to say.
It's a God thing. God's there.
Well, I mean,
I wasn't listening, so go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're not supposed to say that, Todd.
Oh my goodness! Thank you, Emmett. You know, Davis did that earlier. You cannot be all things to your kids. I actually have a friend who said that her mother told her that one of the upsides to her being imperfect was that her daughter still needed God. She said, if your mother was any more perfect, you wouldn't need God because I would always be able to do everything you needed me to do. But I do think that I don't think God created us to meet all of our kids' every single need, but I do think he created us to point them to him and to do the very best that we can do. And I think when we try to do all things for them, I don't think we're doing them any favors. I really think it's better when we do what we can and we're aware and we die to ourselves and all of that. But I think ultimately the biggest thing we can do is point them to God to be their all and their enough and their satisfaction. Wow. I just think it's a losing battle when we try to do it all.
It's true. And that's when we get overwhelmed and we feel like we are failing at this thing we call homeschooling. So that's so true. Do y'all have any perspective y'all want to add to that, Davis or Todd?
Is this where I say the line, I think I got it, but just in case, can you start from the beginning? I wasn't listening.
No, I'm not. Really?
Guys get overwhelmed a little bit easier than...
I was actually trying to figure out if Rachel's background was the same background as my background.
It is.
We talked about that earlier. See, if you had been on that one, you would know. We talked about that it looked like blood. And we're like, is this a crime scene or what? So she had to give us a tour of her room.
In this hotel. So, yeah.
Okay.
So what I was talking about.
Go ahead, Davis, and answer that question.
You want to ask the question again? Okay, so that gap, that space where we feel like we're failing because it is so much work and it's so hard for moms, and we feel like when the gap is so wide and you have so many kids and you don't feel like you're meeting all the needs of all of them. So what encouragement can you give moms when they feel like they're failing at that important mission?
Rachel's smiling at me like, yes, honey, what can I do? Well, I would start by having a homeschool teacher appreciation day.
There you go.
You can do it tonight.
Give us something practical
Yeah. Okay. Something real and practical. Well, the fact of the matter is, you're not always going to be able to meet all the needs of all your kids, and it's hard. Life is hard, and a lot like what Todd was saying in his workshop earlier, just paying attention to that one person right in front of you, the one kid that you're helping at that moment. The evening with your wife, you're finally stopping to look in her eyes, knowing a kid's going to interrupt within 5 minutes, and the conversation is not actually going to get finished, but just concentrating on what's right in front of you, right here and now. And homeschooling is part of that journey, but not judging yourself based on how much you're getting done, how many needs you're meeting, because there's always going to be more to do tomorrow, and we can beat ourselves up till we're really discouraged. But homeschool teachers are amazing. I mean, like I was saying, you are so organized, you're so patient. You put us guys to, I don't know. You make us look like a failure sometimes, and we're pretty hard on ourselves. But homeschool teachers you're just awesome. I mean, and you need to remind yourself of that more often, because you're doing a really big deal. You're sacrificing so much. You're taking care of your kids 24/7, 365. You don't even get a vacation when you have a vacation. And what I need to do, what we need to do, is acknowledge that and recognize that, and remind each other that, yeah, you're pretty amazing, hon.
Oh, wasn't that sweet?
That was so sweet.
How was that?
That was good. Okay.
It was all sincere too, and she knows it.
know. You're very good at that. Okay,
bring
Todd,
chocolates when you come home. There you go. I mean, well, actually, it's the other way around. Rachel's the one out of town, so you have to have chocolates there when she comes home. There. Todd, what would you add? You have 8 children. Big old span.
We do. Yeah, we do have a big span. And, moms, you got to quit doing that. You got to quit feeling that you're not going to be enough for everybody, because you are going to be enough for everybody. It's not like, I was talking to a dad earlier, and he was talking about, hey, I don't know how many children they had, 5 or 6, and he was talking about how they, give certain children this much time each week, and they each have a half hour with their dad or each with their mom. Our kids aren't that lucky.
Mine aren't either.
They get group time with mom and dad, and that's enough, and it's different. And, I think sometimes even the big kids fill in our gaps to the little kids. I mean, I think it's so cool when we're driving in our RV and my little son, one of my little kids, will ask their big brother, hey, Sam, why do cows have such long horns? As though they skip right over me. And I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. They don't need me in the same way, maybe, because they have big brothers and big sisters.
No, I agree.
And I think that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool thing.
Well, during your talk, Todd, you definitely hit some ouch spots for a lot of moms. I saw a whole lot of conviction going on there. But you said something I think is so powerful. I know you love me, but do you like me? And that was something that I think all of us probably felt a little bit of a stab on that one, because I think we've all had that child that's challenging. So I wanted to thank you for talking about that, because I know personally I have to do some hugs and some smiles, although I love to laugh. So Rachel, how did you feel? I know you got to listen, or did you get to listen?
I didn't get to listen. I have to confess.
Oh my gosh, you have to go back and listen to it. It was so good.
You don't say you didn't get to listen as though something was pressing. You chose not to listen. That's right.
Actually, I got to go to dinner with a friend that we wrote that I knew when Charles was little, and she had a that kid and I had a that kid at the same time. And I really believe that God sent her into my life so that I knew that I wasn't alone and I wasn't going crazy. And so we got to go to dinner tonight. I haven't seen her in 2 years. Aww. And both of them are 25 and married. So, I mean, tonight we got to sit and just celebrate. God's faith.
Oh.
It was So I did not hear the amazing presentations that the two gentlemen made, but
I know, but you know what? That's exactly what he
I-
was talking about. Was that kid? It's funny that you should bring that up because he was essentially, reminding us that Todd, repeat it. You want me to do it for you?
I have no idea what I said.
Oh, yes, you do. He was talking about how yes, they know that we love them. Of course they know we love them, but that sometimes in our body language and in our expressions, we don't necessarily send the message that we like them. And that child is the one that probably gets that the most. So you know exactly what he was talking about. What a conviction.
We think we're fooling them, and we are not fooling them. They totally get it. And it's really important that we accept them exactly the way that God made them. That doesn't mean that they don't need to be disciplined or discipled. We all do. I mean, that's why we're all a work in progress. But they get it when we don't like them. And it's really important that we hug them and tell them how much we're so excited about how God made them and how God sent them to our house. They really need that. Just our acceptance. More than I think the other one, because some of the other ones are just easier to like. And we love them all. So
she did watch. She just didn't tell us, Todd, because she's actually covering your highlights. Anyway, go ahead.
I am a little. I'm easily distracted. Are Rachel's numbers higher than mine? Is that what that little 94 means?
Yes, here. Oh my goodness!
I'll clap for you.
Somebody's over there giving.
Man, competition. And like Davis is sitting there not saying anything, and his is was higher than mine.
I was crushing you for a while. I need to talk for a while here. I need some.
This is really not about talking. It's about competition. Who's better? Who can have a higher number?
Don't be distracted by the number.
I have no idea what that even means.
It's the hallelujahs. I've already told you. So you weren't paying attention. Yep. Mm-hmm. So I found out something that y'all have in common watching the seminar. You all have animators. Did they know each other? I mean, is this coincidence? Is this?
Well, I will tell you, I guess, because Rachel and Davis are married, so they have the same animator.
Thank you for that. We're so thankful you included. Wow.
But we do. Our sons, they both at least went part of the same path. They went through Animation Mentor, and in fact, the Carmens kind of put us onto that. And
very good.
My second oldest son, he went through the program, loved the program, and he's back in Indiana doing it right now. He's animating a film actually, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was pretty fascinating. I was sort of shocked by that. So, okay. So what did y'all bring that y'all wanted to talk about tonight? Is there anything that you wanted to specifically cover before I start going down all my questions? Because I've got a ton of questions, but I'm not sure that's where you want to go.
Well, let me just piggyback on what Todd was just talking about with this animation program. One of the things that is probably good for families who are early in their homeschooling journey right now to realize that we didn't realize until we graduated our first and second. And that is, just because you stepped out of the box during homeschool, don't think that everything is going to be quote unquote normal in terms of the continuing education. And so this animation mentor program is an out of the box educational experience. It's a bunch of animators in the industry who basically asked, what would I do? What would I wish I could have learned before I got into the industry? And they started this school that's online. And but what's amazing is in 2 years or less, each of our sons, went through the program, being taught by folks that are making all the movies we all know and love. But they went to the physical graduation of an online school, which was just as bizarre for me, but it was a great experience. And I still remember July of 2013 when our whole family went out to San Francisco, and we had another one of those big shared experiences, and watched Anderson, our son, with a couple hundred other people from all around the world, literally walk across the stage to get their diploma from this paradigm shift of a school. And so as homeschoolers, just realize you have stepped off the deep end, and you're probably never going to be able to get yourself back in the box of normalcy. But I think that's pretty neat, just to be stretched in that way.
So you have questions over here on the right. They're asking what the name of it is. Is it called Animation Mentor? Is that the program itself?
Yes. That is correct. Yeah, it's not a homeschool program, but at least 2 out of our 15 kids have gone through the program so far.
That's great. That's great. So see, and I think that's something that a lot of homeschool families are just really realizing, especially at the high school level, that we can outsource. We can find tutors that don't necessarily fit inside the homeschool curriculum world and use those. So Jeanette is asking, what's the cost? Maybe that's something that I'm sure it varies, and I'm sure it goes up, right?
It was, I want to say there were 6 courses in the program, each one just shy of $3,000. So $15,000 to $18,000 was the total cost as I'm going from memory.
It's still that. I think they've even dropped the price down a little bit, actually.
Oh, wow. Very good.
Yeah.
So how did y'all avoid burnout? That's something that I keep hearing about from a lot of moms. And honestly, even myself, we've been at it 8 years. How do you avoid that burnout? How do you avoid, feeling like you're not hitting on all cylinders and it's a drudgery. You have to drag yourself into that homeschool every single morning. See, they're liking me too because I'm asking good questions.
Okay, so
I'm
128. Y'all really, I'm way down.
I'm ahead at the moment.
I think you just stuff in your ballot box, Davis.
You cannot applaud for yourself. Okay. It doesn't work. I tried it.
It doesn't. That's right. It's a patience thing, So.
I did see some Apologia ones just flying up there.
I got friends in the background.
I think they brought their roadies.
You could totally blow it out of the water. Okay.
Rachel, answer the question.
Because you answered it earlier. I think Todd should answer it now. What do y'all do to avoid burnout?
You just keep going. You just keep swimming, because the burnout comes. That's just the way it is. Everybody faces it. Excellent. You don't act on it. You don't say, I'm burned out. Therefore we're doing the wrong thing. Let's do something else. I think you can adjust. I mean, that's the beauty of homeschooling. If you feel like you're tired of something, then you do something different. There's some things you have to plug through. I mean, you have to plug through reading, math facts. I don't care what poems you memorize, it's still plugging. And you just keep going. Just don't operate any heavy machinery, during that time. And then don't make any major life choices.
So you would say that you need to be like Dory, just keep swimming, just keep swimming.
Exactly.
That was nice.
That was good for a few applauses there.
I'm not competing with you. There's just no way to compete with the Family Man. I'm just nodding my head.
It's like a video game.
Oh, that's too funny. So from a marriage perspective, you, both of you obviously are still married. You're both obviously still together, even though you're physically separated. That was what Joe and Zan kept joking about earlier today, that, being separated was what their secret to being married so long. But how do you stay connected? That's one thing that, especially, these high school years, it seems like you really, really, really are stretched thin. And as we're speaking, Davis is in North Carolina because something came up with, all these older kids. So yes, I mean, how do you manage to stay together and really focus on your relationships?
Well, Rachel and I like going on dates. We actually like each other.
Yeah.
Todd.
Yeah, there you go, Todd.
Liking the kids is can be a little difficult at times, but I actually do like all my kids. But because I like spending time with Rachel, she likes spending time with me. I mean, we really make it a priority to go on dates often. And I remember when we were married maybe 10 years, I met a couple who talked about going on dates once a week. And I really thought, once a week? That's impossible. I mean, once every 3 or 4 weeks is, about all the schedule can hold. But as we got married longer and longer, I realized just how important it was to really try and make it once a week, very frequent, because that's impossible. But if you try, you're going to get together often. And if you're married, you know how many conversations don't get finished, how many important things can fall through the cracks if you don't have that next important conversation. And one of the things Rachel and I have really tried to do the last few months, because we found it hard. We found a lot of our dates turning into planning meetings. And we have really talked about it, for instance, our date that we got this Saturday when she comes back. Let's just go look at each other's eyes and, be romantic and say, I love you, and not talk about the calendar. And
you can't do that, Davis. I just do not believe you can do that.
You watch me do it this time. I'm not talking any dates, calendars, or to-do list. It's very hard for Rachel.
Davis may love his family, but he loves his calendars.
Yeah, he was talking about it in the seminar. He was talking about the planners right there. So we know he does.
That's true. That was probably subliminal in my own mind, but that was the one resource I plugged, was a planner.
I know. So telling on you, right?
It's so true.
Too funny. So, but you know what? I bet with y'all owning a business together and obviously being married and children, I bet it is challenging for y'all. I bet y'all have a lot of stresses there, and it does take extra effort to put the planner away, put the calendar away. And
it's challenging for everybody. It's hard for everybody.
It is.
As hard as homeschooling is, marriage is even harder.
Yeah.
It just, and especially as your kids get older, I think there's just more pressure. I think, my wife, as our kids have gotten older and the issues get bigger, she internalizes it. She thinks, oh man, I've just failed as a mom. But then she turns it on me and well, it's really your fault.
I think we all do that. That's a good point.
And it puts a lot of pressure. And I think, again, there are a lot of husbands out there and wives out there, when you talk about burnout and they say, this is just too hard. I think there's a lot of good stuff. You just have to get through the hard stuff. And sometimes there are those seasons, and maybe there are long seasons, but, we just stay married. We just we're on the same team. We're in it till the end.
Yeah. I think another thing too that you do really well, Todd, and we do well through waves, and probably you understand what I mean. I think it's really important to laugh together. Just really gut level, belly laugh till you cry stuff. I think it's good to laugh together. And I think sometimes it's hard. You go through really hard phases and you don't have like pressure valve relief from all the stress and all the taxi driving that Davis is doing this weekend and all the hard decisions you're making and all the stress that you're facing. And I just think we just need to get together and laugh. When we were unemployed, so this has been several years ago, Davis lost his job in April, and we really thought that we'd have a job by August. He's got a master's degree, walk in the park, right? We had headhunters. We thought we were going to do this thing. And my mom and dad noticed that we were starting to get kind of serious because August had come and gone and we didn't have a job. And mom and dad suggested a movie to us. And they said, you need to just have a really good laugh. And the movie is not the point. The point was that we watched that and literally laughed until we cried. And it became sort of a reference point for us because we didn't know then that we were facing 18 more months of unemployment. We didn't know that.
Wow.
But because we had that laughter, we talked about it through the whole time. And I think sometimes we're just not laughing enough. Davis and I, we need to laugh together. We need to watch something funny. We need to play a game as a family. We need to remember things that the kids that have done is funny, that not just stressful. I just think that that's important too in a marriage, that you continue to laugh together.
I 100% agree. And actually, Zan and Joe talked about that earlier. That was one of their secrets was the humor, was to get through it. He is.
hilarious. Yeah.
I've nicknamed him Mayhem. I think he needs to be called Mayhem. And Davis didn't agree. I don't understand why. He said he had enough chaos in his life. Thank you.
Yeah. I refer to him as the class clown, which we all need to laugh, like you say.
I love it. I love it. So, Todd, you mentioned something in your seminar that also hit home, and it's that time is fleeting. You know, that, yes, we do have these seasons where we feel like, you know, that we are everything, Davis, you know, where we give everything we have to give and then some. But I think we need to put a parenthesis around that. We need to remember that it is fleeting. What do y'all do to help you stay focused in that moment and not constantly be, you know, saying, oh, I'm so right. You know, I'll be so thankful when XYZ happens. How do you stay focused on that?
That's
Todd,
really
it was
hard
your
to
idea.
do.
I'll let you talk first.
Okay. Well, I need to boost my numbers here.
There you go.
Thank you, people. Thank you. That's really hard to do. You know, it's hard to stay in the moment. It's hard to say, oh, I'm going to really enjoy this moment at this time. In fact, it's almost impossible. You know, I don't know what it is about me. I've been inflicted. I think God has given me this incredible sense of the passage of time. I just feel like it's shooting by. That said, I still miss it. But I think you do what you know to be true. You know, I will not say I wish any of it away. My wife will say, what are we going to do to kill some time today? And I'm like, well, we don't kill time in our house. You know, we enjoy time. We can figure something out to do, but I don't want to kill any of it. Because it's so precious. And that said, you know, sometimes it's, and this is why I push dads into bedtime, because bedtime is such a important time, because, you know, when the lights go down and everybody's quiet, that's when you can kind of focus on this is the good stuff. So, but it's not hard. It's not easy. It's not easy to stay in that moment, and we all get sucked out of it. But
Todd, don't you think it kind of gets easier once you have like one or two to leave? Because I feel like it took like the boys going for me to really breathe and relax and lean in to like the younger boys. I mean, I don't want it to be true, but I feel like, and God's on the throne and he knows, but my kids that are younger have a different me than my older kids did.
I mean, that's interesting.
And I don't know. I mean, I think that I was impatient and I was ready to, you know, have them potty trained or able to make their own peanut butter and jelly sandwich or buckle themselves in or go to the bathroom. And but now that I have a few out of the house, I'm just like soaking it all in, enjoying every moment, cognizant of conversation and nuance in a way that I don't think I was. And I think I was probably overwhelmed and, you know, fighting for air and breath when I had all of them at home. But I also think part of it is just them, they're gone. And so I can still go see Charles and Anderson and Ann, but they're not at home anymore. And I feel like there's a different level of intentionality now. Maybe you've just always been aware of it in a way that I haven't, but.
Well, I think, you know, that's I mean, as homeschoolers, Rachel, don't you, I mean, if your kids were in school, you wouldn't have half of that. You wouldn't have a fraction of that time. And I just think, you know, you think sometimes, as my observation is, moms, you see, oh, I just got to get through school so I can get on to the important stuff in my life, you know, and really that your school is the important thing,
right.
Not the subjects, but that time you're with your children. I mean, we travel around in an RV, and I'll tell you the cool thing about that is not all the hardship, but we're driving down the road and my son says, hey, Mom, can I sit in your seat with you and do the alphabet game? You know, where you run through, there's an A, there's a B. And you know, when you're in the busyness of life, you don't have time for that. And I think RVs slow you down. Homeschooling causes you to be home with your children. And I think that's intentional. And that's the good part.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's good.
I agree.
Hey, this reminds me, just the whole idea of time is fleeting and going by fast. We've been homeschooling 20 years now, but I remember when we had 13 years under our belt, we were graduating our first son. And Rachel and I were sort of taking in the moment and looking at our youngest son at the time, Benjamin, who was 5, and realizing, wow, wait a second. We've just finished 13 years, and he's 5, which means he's got 13 more years. We're like halfway done with this journey, and it was a really important milestone that we recognized. And even just this week, we've been having some conversations about our 5, 10, and 15-year plans. Yes, we're planners. But what hit us?
He keeps talking about
was,
this as a theme.
Sorry, that's tonight's theme, ladies and gentlemen. Plan your work and work your plan.
That's right.
And meet resistance, of course. But in any event, Benjamin is 13 or 12, almost 13 right now. He's going to graduate in 5 extremely short years.
Yeah.
Rachel and I know it's going to just be gone in an instant. And we don't want to miss it.
Yeah.
We want to really take it in with these last 3, because our 4th is about to leave the nest this fall. And she's got plans, and we only got 3 at the house. 2 years, the next one will be gone, 2 years after that, and then 1 year. And so just being aware of that. And the problem often can be when you got young kids and you're in the trenches, and as a mom, you're literally 24/7 changing diapers, nursing, feeding, pregnant, taking care of your husband. I mean, just the craziness that you have to face.
Yeah.
And somehow you can forget that this 2, 4, and 6-year-old are going to be 12, 14, and 16 before you know it. I actually still have a picture on my desk of my girls when they were 12, or when they were 2, 4, and 6. And it's hard for me to believe that that's not where they still are. And I look at them, and I have 3 young ladies.
Yeah.
And it's just an amazing experience as a parent. And then being homeschool parents, like Todd said, getting to spend that much time with our kids, that much time at home, that much time trying to figure this out with our spouse, and all the conversations that come from that. I mean, we're blessed, and we don't even realize it as we're happening until suddenly one day we're looking back and saying, gosh, I sort of missed the trail of socks on the floor. And where's the mess? Is anybody still living here? And suddenly it's quieter.
Yeah. Well, you both said something that I think is important, and I think we can forget about being intentional and really spending that time and focusing. And that's something that I totally get it, because I have 2 high schoolers. I totally get it. We still are not very intentional. So I'm going to actually write that down and put it on a sticky note and put it on my desk and remind myself of that. Something else that I think that does help, if you can keep this in mind, is you're making memories, and to encourage us to remember that every piece of this homeschool journey is a memory, and it doesn't have to be all about school and all about school books, that we can actually enjoy each other and laugh, as y'all were saying, and smile, Todd, as you were saying. And sometimes I think we forget that. How about
the other thing that keeps me intentional is I'm already investing in my grandchildren by the way that I invest in my kids.
Yeah.
So, when we take time to plant a garden, or to really read a book together, or to go on the walk or the nature walk, or explore why the frogs aren't singing in the backyard, or whatever, I'm investing in, I'm saying that these things are important. These relationships are important. When I turn off the iPhone or the computer and I close it and I have a conversation, or those things matter. And I'm already setting up the stage for my grandkids. And we have a granddaughter. And I think about that. I think, what do I want my kids to value and do with my grandkids? And that also is a way of keeping it in perspective. Or we have a granddaughter that's 4 months old, and so that's very fresh for us.
very, very important. That's a great point, Rachel. And that journey, that being involved in the journey and not always so focused on the destination, right?
Right.
So, something that else that I think that families, y'all mentioned it earlier, families with that have a lot of children, y'all have the luxury of having the older ones be able to teach some of the younger ones. And I think that a lot of moms don't realize how important that is. I think that we need to remember that's essentially giving them project management skills. So did y'all do that? Did y'all allow your children, the older children, to be involved in the younger children's education?
Well, yes, but actually the first thing that comes to my mind is the relationship that they end up having by spending so much time together.
Yeah.
I mean, I still remember when my oldest was 13 years old and number 7 was born. And he loved holding his little infant brother.
Aww.
And then when he's 14, holding a 1-year-old's hand, as he's learning to take his first steps. And the bond that happens there across, a fairly large age gap among all the kids. And of course, we have sibling rivalry and we have, issues that come up. They're far from perfect. And we all have that sinful nature that comes out with those we're closest with. But here's the unexpected observation that we discovered. We didn't realize how hard it was going to be on our younger kids when the older ones left. We thought it was going to be hard on us. Yeah. And sometimes we can't get a tear in edgewise for all the other kids who are crying because they missed a brother and sister.
Aww.
And it literally caught us by surprise in such a way that I've just realized, wow, I had no idea just how much my kids really did enjoy each other.
Isn't that amazing? What a blessing that is to see
it really
that
is.
too.
It's cool. Our oldest just got married in last June, and then about 3 months ago, he and his wife bought the house right next door to us.
I know, that's amazing.
And it is really an amazing thing. And I think what we've done in homeschooling, it has just continued on. There was a book out there that was like how to make brothers and sisters best friends. And, really the way you make your brothers and sisters best friend is that you homeschool and you don't give them other friends. I mean, not that they don't have other friends. It's not that you don't give them other friends, but they become best friends. And now my kids, my little kids are like, can we go over to Ben and Marissa's house? And we'll text them and they run over, and the boys go over and they'll watch Star Wars together. And I'm not even included. They just do it together. And I'm thinking it's it. That's the price of admission right there. And that did put me up at the highest numbers right then.
There you go. And you knew that, right? You knew that.
I was seeing if I could get people to cry.
You're working on it.
I clapped for you a few times myself. There's a clap. That reminds me, when our son got married almost 2 years ago, who was his best man?
Right.
Our son number 2. So Charles got married. Anderson's his best man. But, in many ways, I wasn't surprised by that. And I've been to weddings before, and I've heard best man speeches, and, some are pretty decent. And you may think I'm biased, but I really am trying to be objective here. My son gave the best man speech ever. Yeah. Because he put this story together that chronicled his life with his brother. Right. And we knew about it. It wasn't, two strangers that we didn't really know their story. We knew all the references that he was, coming up with and what it meant to them and what it meant to us. And
making memories.
Yeah, like Todd said, you want a best man for your kids' wedding, homeschool together.
Exactly.
I love that.
But I think it's important as parents that we prioritize those relationships, because I often hear parents go, if I can't homeschool, my kids would kill each other. And I think, I don't think that's a reason not to homeschool. I think that's a reason to homeschool. I think God put your family together, and he put specific children in your family, and God has orchestrated that whole family dynamic to grow you closer to him, to conform you into the image of his son. And when you put those relationships first, when you focus on those things. When you don't focus on math, but you focus on, you don't talk sassy to your brother, you don't talk rude to your brother, when you really prioritize that. We used to have a policy. We still have a policy. I actually had to enact it a couple of weeks ago. Two of my children were not being kind to each other, and yet they wanted to go to a friend's house. Our policy has been, you get this ready first, you get this fixed first, and then we go outside. You prioritize this relationship. And talking to them about that, you don't look the other way when siblings are rude to each other. You don't look the other way when they're mean to each other. You prioritize that and you raise the bar. I really believe that's what we're called to. We can't just say it's a phase, they'll grow out of it, some days they'll love each other. You have to prioritize that. Ben and Charles and Anderson laugh about that now, about the fact, remember when you wouldn't let us go next door because we weren't being nice to each other? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, thank you. So you do those things. But again, it's like we've been saying all day, it's not easy, but it is good. And it enriches your family, and it enriches the relationship and the relationship with God. But as parents, I really believe that we have a huge stake in prioritizing those relationships. They're not naturally going to do it. But we need to say, these relationships are important. Look what God has done by sending you each other, and make sure that we put that as a priority in our home.
Amen. Preach. Yep, she's got it. Sorry, Todd, she just passed you in a big way.
Blowing us away.
But you know what? It's true.
Debbie on the computer in the other room, and you've got it knocked out of the park.
Yeah.
To get it in. I thought that's what she was going to do for you. Just be in the other room and just, applaud.
I should have done it. You've like lapped me. I've been lapped.
I was going to say, first one to 500 wins.
Okay.
I think Rachel just hit it.
She's it. Boom.
But that's.
I don't need your charity class, people. Don't feel sorry for me.
And whoever wins gets to go on a date with me this Saturday.
Oh, there you go. Oh, there. I think you'll not get another one, Todd. They will give you another.
That's right.
And no more hallelujahs for you tonight. Somebody give you a few. There you go. So as we wind down and as we close this evening, because I know everybody's tired. I know everybody is, pooped. For y'all have been going all day long, especially Rachel. She's been at the convention, and you, Todd, you're at the convention. So not to diminish you, Davis. I know you're riding everybody around, right?
He's doing something probably.
He's got that planner out. We know what he's doing. So, but
he's probably watching Lord of the Rings marathon right now.
Okay, I'm giving you a kudo just for that. Okay,
yeah, we do that at the end of the year. But in a couple of weeks is May 4th. You know what that is? That's the Star Wars marathon.
There you go. Yeah. May the 4th be with you. Yeah, no, we get it.
All right. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so as we wind down, what would y'all like to speak? What would the last words as y'all are walking out the door? What do you want these mamas to remember from this evening?
Okay, Todd, this is your moment. Go for it, baby. Come on.
And we won't let you have a date with Davis, okay? So we'll keep you. We'll just give her some more kudos.
Okay, I'm thinking.
Wax philosophical here, right at the end.
I know. What can I say?
These are my closing words. I just don't want you to. I don't. You're not. Don't laugh, Rachel. This is serious stuff. You just killed the mood there. You just killed the mood.
Okay, we'll get it back. Sorry.
Start all over.
Okay.
I just want you moms to not give up. To smile lots. And I've probably shared this before, but my wife's motto is, if we laugh a little and learn a little, we will have accomplished a lot. And really, that's it. For my own family, if we just educate them and we taught them a bunch of good facts, I feel like we will have failed them. My oldest son, Ben, he told his mom probably within the last 3 or 4 months, maybe a little bit longer, said, I am so glad I was homeschooled. I'm so glad I got to spend all this time at home. I can't imagine what I would have missed had I gone to a regular school. It's the same way with your kids. Not only would they have missed, but we would have missed. not having our children at home.
Well, you know what? I think it speaks volumes that your son bought right next door to you. I think that's pretty amazing. I only hope that my kids want to be that close to me when they get out of the house, right? What a blessing that is. You've done something right. Congratulations to you and your wife. Davis, what do you want to leave the moms with?
Do I say something serious or funny?
Either one.
No. Well, really, I mean, today is Homeschool Teacher Appreciation Day. So I couldn't agree with what Todd said anymore. Do not give up. But my message to you is that you're awesome. I mean, you really are. The sacrifices you're making, the love, care, and nurturing you're giving to your kids, all the planning that you're doing to make this happen, and and then just try not to beat yourself up, because it's easy to do that. But believe in yourself. Mm-hmm. I mean, I believe in you, and I haven't met you, but I mean, you've taken on a task that's huge. You're doing well. Your kids are loving it. Believe in yourself and think of yourself as awesome. But more than that, remember this truth. You are literally irreplaceable. There's only one you, Mom. And because of that, you're the best. Yeah. So believe in yourself.
Words of wisdom there, for sure. Okay, Rachel, you get the last word of the night. It's all yours. She's definitely going to blow you now, Todd. Sorry.
600, here it comes.
No, the only thing I would say is I just want us all to remember that we really need each other, and that it's not about whether or not we teach Latin or we do classical conversations or we do unit studies or we do traditional textbooks. We need each other's support. We need each other's prayer. We need to know that we're fighting alongside each other, and we need to stop bickering over things that don't matter and pray for each other and stand together as we seek to honor God in discipling our children.
Amen. Amen. She has Rachel, you always speak such words of wisdom. We appreciate you and all of you. Thank you so much for being here, guys. We totally enjoyed the seminar. I will be sure to have that up, and we will actually add the blab to it too. So, guys, do y'all have any questions over there before we let these guys hit the sack? Everybody is giving y'all all kinds of kudos. Totally needed this. Thank you all so much. Excellent. Thank you. I needed all of this today. So
whoever's
y'all are
past my bedtime, I'm with you. I've got my PJs on. I am diving over this direction. Right over here, baby. Closing my computer, snoring in 5 minutes. Right over there.
Well, we have totally enjoyed it. I do not see anybody asking any more questions or saying sweet dreams, Rachel. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
Good night, guys. Y'all have a great week, and we appreciate y'all being here. And happy Homeschool Teacher Day. Good night, y'all.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Okay. Bye, girlfriend.
Bye. We'll talk later.
Thanks for everything.
Thank you. Okay, I'm turning off the recording, guys. Good night.